Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Today I'm in a Renault Wind. Yes, I know you won't know what one of those is, so let me just explain, because they weren't very common. Or rare, you might say. In fact, rare is the word I'm going to use in my advert because it sounds better than unpopular or unsuccessful. The Renault Wind is a two-seat convertible made by the French manufacturer between 2010 and 2012. So they were only available for 3 model years, 10, 11 and 12. That's one thing I like, or probably the only thing I like about French brands. Sometimes they just make something that's just a little bit weird and unexpected. I mean, do you remember the Renault Sport Spider? In fact, I don't even recall seeing one on the roads. Anyway, the Wind is no different. They sold in fairly small numbers. I'm not sure who the target audience was, to be honest. It's a two-seater, so there aren't 2 seats in the rear like you'd get in a 206 or 207cc. So it limits that market. And also this roof folds down in one single piece, a bit like a Ferrari 575 Super America. So what you're left with is this almost Targa-style Renault. They were available with only 2 engines, both 4-cylinder petrols. One was a 1.2 litre turbo which produced 99 horsepower. The other one, which is the engine I've got in this, is a 1.6 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder petrol, which produces 131 horsepower. They both came with a 5-speed manual gearbox. In my opinion, the one you want to go for is the 1.6, because having driven the 1.2s, the turbos do run out of steam a little bit, and you may as well go for the one with more horsepower. It just makes more sense. But it's not perfect, this engine, because under 4,000 RPM, it's completely numb and lifeless. It's totally inert, as I'll demonstrate for you in a second. So right now I'm doing 30 miles an hour in 3rd gear. You put your foot to the floor, nothing really happens. So I'm at 3,000 RPM, 4,000 RPM, 5,000 RPM. That's when it really starts to come alive. Before any of you start to comment, we are still on lockdown, yes, but I do have to nip out and pick up a prescription, so I thought I may as well bring my camera along and show you the Renault Wind. When you start to wind this engine up, it really does sing, and it's way more fun to drive than I thought. I honestly thought this was going to be some 206cc or 207cc, which are horrible to drive. They're hateful things, and I thought the Renault Wind was going to be just like that, but it's way better. It's really quite good fun to drive. It almost feels a little bit like a Mini because it's quite grippy. You sit quite low, although I would like to sit a little bit lower than this, and the seat's not adjustable. The Wind was designed entirely by Renault's motorsport division, and that really shows, because what this isn't, well, it's not just a convertible Clio or Twingo. It's really a whole lot better than that. Don't get me wrong, it's not some stripped out hardcore track car, but it's way better than I expected. Regarding the styling, do let me know what you think below, because I can't quite make up my mind about it. I keep changing my mind. Sometimes I think it looks really cool and unusual, and then other times I think it looks completely hideous. I like it from the front end. I think the back of this car is its real strong point, because I like those rear buttresses. I like the rear spoiler. I think it looks just right. But from the side it looks a little bit odd. The boot is quite high and tall to accommodate the roof, so it almost looks like an old Lotus Europa, only one that's eaten too many croissants. The interior is a little bit of a letdown. It's just like jumping in an old Clio, really. There's loads and loads of textured, scratchy black plastics. And there are a few annoying little quirks that I've found. For example, I mean, this is true of any Renault of this era. As you're driving along, listening to a song, you think, right, I like this song, I'm going to turn it up. So you naturally grab this knob in the middle here to turn it up. But that isn't the volume. That changes the track. Stupid, isn't it? The volume knob is this little one over to the left-hand side, miles away from the driver. Just a little bit counterintuitive. Also, this model has cruise control, so you've got the buttons here on the steering wheel, just as you'd expect. But in order to turn the cruise control on, there's another button. Guess where they put that? You'd expect it to be on the steering wheel, wouldn't you? Well, it's actually in the last place that you'd look. It's down here, near the window switch. Makes no sense. The exterior has the weird door handles from a Twingo, which do look a little bit strange, and they're not the easiest to use. The interior, however, has these leather straps to pull the door, which is a little bit odd. There's also no cup holders at all. No centre storage here, no armrest. The glove compartment is as big as Thumbelina's head. It's mainly taken up by the fuse box, so it's not even big enough to store the owner's manual. Because it's a French car, the hazard light switch takes pride of place. It sits there big and proud, like a carriage clock sitting on a mantelpiece. Running costs on the Renault Wind range are fairly low, as you'd expect, The 1.2 litre turbo will do 40 miles per gallon. This 1.6 will do high 30s, so neither will break the bank to run. The road tax here in the UK isn't too high either. Reliability wise, this car is loosely based on the Twingo and the Clio, and they're quite reliable cars on the whole. I've sold loads of them over the years and not had anything serious happen or any serious warranty claims. Apart from the odd thermostat or window regulator, they're not unreliable. In fact, I recently took in part exchange a Renault Clio that had done 130,000 miles, and it still drove really well with no warning lights or anything, so, you know, don't let high mileage cars put you off. You can pick up Renault Winds here in the UK from a couple of £1,000s. For a nice, well-spec'd one like this, I mean, this one's only done 33,000 miles with full service history. This is also a high-spec GT line model with leather seats, 17-inch wheels, and a few optional extras. Something like this will cost you around £4,000. But there aren't many of them out there, so be prepared to travel for a good one. The diamond cut wheels will often corrode, and also the front and rear bumpers are made of plastic, so any stone chips, over time the lacquer will start to lift. The stones chip the lacquer and then moisture gets underneath, and before you know it the front end looks like this one, so I will have to get that resprayed. Apart from those little things, you've just got things like, you know, service history and timing belts and stuff to bear in mind, just like any other car. I've certainly not heard of any negative things or common problems to mention about the Renault Wind. It's front wheel drive and it handles like a front wheel drive car does. The steering's quite precise though. The ride is a little bit on the firm side, and that's not helped with this particular car because it has the 17-inch wheels. But it's not as stiff as, say, a Mini Cooper S or something like that. In fact, you know, I've driven far stiffer cars. This isn't too bad, but you do feel the bumps. There is also quite a bit of wind and road noise that you hear at higher speeds. I think that's not helped by this plastic roof, which feels hollow. It's almost like being sat in a little Tykes cosy coupe. Interior space isn't too bad, there's enough room around you. It does feel quite dark in here with the roof up, and visibility isn't the best. Those rear buttresses do block out the vision when you look over your shoulder. Overall though, I'm quite impressed with this little Wind. I just feel like it slightly misses the mark. It's probably why they pulled the plug after just 3 years of production. Still, there aren't that many of them out there, so if you want something that's a little bit unique and a little bit unusual, then it's not a bad option. It just feels like a slightly wasted opportunity though, because as it stands, the Wind is neither one thing nor the other. It's more fun and handles way better than your average lady buyer might like, but it's not quick enough or sporty enough for anybody that wants a little hardcore sports car. So it's just missed the point slightly. It's annoying because Renault was so close with this car. If they'd have fitted the racy engine from the sporty Megane, made it a little bit lighter, made the driver's seat lower, maybe fixed the roof and given me a cup holder, it could have been very nearly perfect. Anyway, they didn't, so it is what it is. So thanks once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. I'm nearly at 50,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. When I started this channel 16 months or so ago, I didn't expect to be at 50,000 subscribers in such a short space of time, so thank you. If you haven't subscribed, set yourself up an account and make sure you subscribe. Please. That sounded like an order, didn't it? What else? You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you've got any questions or comments, let me know and I'll do my best to get back to you. So cheers guys, take care, see you soon.